Hi, it's Rick with Musicians Edition with another video on how to play the tenor saxophone. I hope you are doing well so far and you are making some progress and you're starting to sound better. Remember that sounding good when you play is really one of the very biggest components of playing. If you don't sound good, you won't enjoy it, and other people probably won't enjoy your playing either. So always strive to get a good sound, and a big part of that in the early stages is making sure that you have your mouth on the mouthpiece in the correct manner. If the mouthpiece is too far into your mouth, you'll get a harsher sound that isn't very pleasant, and if it's not far enough in, it can sound real soft and kind of thin. So you can experiment with that. But one of the biggest mistakes that beginners make is putting that mouthpiece too far into the mouth. And if you do, you'll get kind of a harsh, loud sound. It's much more pleasant if you back off of the mouthpiece a little bit. And a lot of making a good sound is developing the embouchure, the mouth muscles, which takes time. We are on page 7 today. So let's start by discussing some new things, new ideas, new concepts at the top of this page. So the main thing that is introduced on this page would be half notes and then half rests. So a half note is a circle with a stem, so it's like a whole note except it has a stem. The stem can either go up or down. It doesn't make any difference to the note. When notes have a stem going down, it's because they were written on the top half of the staff, and when the stems go up, it's from notes that are written on the bottom half of the staff, and that's simply to save space. So going down from the top makes the stem stay within the staff. If you had a note at the top of the staff and you have the stem go up, it just takes all this space above the staff. Same thing at the bottom, goes up to save space. Half notes get 2 counts each. So these notes, compared to a whole note, are half as long. Half rest looks like a whole rest, except the whole rest hangs down from the 4th line from the bottom, and the half rest goes up from the 3rd line from the bottom. Otherwise, they look the same. All right, the other new idea is a breath mark. Looks like a comma, simply means to take a breath. So, let's go ahead and get started with number 8. The other thing that is different on this page, or new, is that you have 2 notes in a row, separated only by a bar line and a breath mark. So instead of having 4 counts in between the notes, you're going to go from one note to another without 4 beats in between, or even 2 beats in between, which we'll get to later on this page with half notes and half rests. So let's start with number 8. It's called a breath of fresh air. We have an E, and then we have a breath mark, and then we have another E, and then we have a rest. Then you change to a D, 4 beats, whole note, breath mark, another D whole note, and then a whole rest, and then we go to C and do the same thing. 4 beat whole note, a breath mark, and then 4 beats. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, play. 2, 3, now D. 2, 3, 4. And you'll notice there's a slight break during the time I am taking a breath, and that is fine for you to do also. That breath should come right before the start of the next note and be long enough just for you to take a quick breath, and that breath should be taken through your mouth. So you open up your mouth around the mouthpiece, bring in air, and then start the next note. Okay? In number 9, side by side, notes are separated by a breath mark again, but this time we're going to change notes also. So in the first measure we have an E, breath mark, and then we change to a D. And then a whole rest. And then a D, breath mark to a C, and then a whole rest again, and then we have a D whole note, and then an E whole note. Okay? Remember that a good way to practice these before you start playing is to just do the fingerings. Just practice changing your fingers. All right, let's play number 9, side by side. Starts with E. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. And then number 10. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, number 11, first exercise with half notes. So in the first measure we have an E half note, and then another E half note, and then another E half note. And then we have a half rest, and then we have a half note D, and another half note D, and another half note D, and then a rest. And then C's, and then D, and then C. So remember that the half rest and the whole rest look very similar, but these are all half rests in this exercise. And let's play number 11, which is called Half the Price. Number 2 beats on the half notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember to go back and practice these over and over until you sound really good on them, and so you can play them comfortably. And then let's look at number 12. This one is going to be changing notes on half notes. So let's go through them. C, D, and E, then a half rest. D, C, and then a whole note, D. And then back to half notes, C, D, and E, half rest, D, E, and then a whole note, C. And since we have faster moving notes, I'm going to slow down my metronome a little bit. To 84. All right, here we go, number 12, Cardiff by the Sea. 1, 2, 3, play. metronome stopped. Anyway, that's Cardiff by the Sea. I just went ahead and kept playing without the metronome that time. All right, so again, practice these until you can play them well. Number 13 is our first duet. A duet is two people playing together or two groups of people playing together, and the music is not exactly the same. It is different. So we have an A part and a B part. And since there's you and I, we can have a duet. So what I would recommend you do is first practice part A, then practice part B, and then when you can play them well, then you can play along with me and play a different part. What we're going to do first, though, is learn the parts individually. And so we will start with part A, and then we'll learn part B. So this is going to be part A, and I have to reset this. And I'm going to put this at 80 now. So again, this is part A, 2 for the show. 1, 2, ready, play. And then B is a little different, a little bit different. So here's part B. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what you should do is learn both parts, and then when you have them down, while I'm playing part A, play part B at the same time, and then switch that around. When I'm playing part B, you should play part A and see how that sounds together. Okay, the notes should move together, but the notes, there are some spots where the note will be different. When two parts are playing together, different notes, it creates what we call harmony, which is two notes played together that sound nice together. And so, hopefully, when you play your duet with me, it'll sound nice. If not, keep practicing. Number 14 is called Go for Excellence. Let's go through the notes first of all. We have a C, and then an E, those are half notes, and then a D half note, and then a half rest. 2 counts on everything there. Then we have a D half note, an E half note, a whole note C, half rest, and then an E half note, and then a D whole note, and then a whole rest, and a whole note C to finish it off. And should sound like this. Here we go, number 14. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, that's page 7. As always, practice these until you sound good and until it sounds close to what I'm doing. I'll see you next time.